Okay, I'm back. Alright, we're streaming now. No, I apologize. So I've got to edit that video now that I realized that I have my, desktop audio on. Yeah, no, I was like falling asleep last night, and then I heard what was sounding like hardcore, techno music, and it snapped my ass awake, and I was like, fuck that, and then I went and passed right the fuck back out. Yeah, I was just giving a great speech and realized that my live was on private because I went and put that other one on private. This is my work computer, and so when it comes to things like checking the news, which I'm going to do every day, first thing in the morning, because it gets me in the mindset of I've got to kick this motherfucker's ass. That's just going to be what happens on this computer. See, I already gave this speech on what was just a private live stream. So, yeah, I apologize for the fumbling. I'm going to have to go in and edit that out. At least it'll be easy for me to do so. How do I get in here and do this? Fucking 17-hour stream. Other than that, what I'm looking at right now, which I already stated while my video was on private, while I gave an 8-minute speech. How do I get in here to freaking edit this video? The FBI is hot under my microscope right now. We're gonna take this one, this 8-minute speech that I just gave, and put that on public. What was I gonna say? No, so I think that the FBI needs to be made into an independent agency, and so the same thing with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I think that, I mean, they need to stay as part of our government. But these are vital services. This is 2025. This is not the fucking 1700s. And this is a part of us having a functional and modern government. And what really pisses me off is I'm sitting here as a victim of a crime, and I don't feel like I can get what happened investigated, because I feel like right now, I mean, considering that we have two podcasters, both Kash Patel and then whoever the fuck this other motherfucker is with his eyes bulging out of his fucking head, looks like he did too much crack cocaine or something, motherfucker, creepy ass motherfucker in charge of the FBI. That's not good. And I don't think that agency should have any bias affiliation with any sort of politics or political party affiliation in any fucking way, because the people that go to the FBI are victims of very serious crimes. The crimes getting reported to the FBI are very serious crimes. So we've had this agency for a while now. I'm well aware of the history of the FBI. We've had this agency for a while, and I think it needs to be running in a non-bipartisan way. Because I don't think it's right for anybody to be in a situation where they feel like the entity that is supposed to be handling these kinds of very serious crimes should be put in a situation where this is an issue. This is strange because I came back in and I edited one of my live streams a while ago, and where is the right button? Did they remove it? Editor, here we go. Okay. That's like a 17-hour stream. It says that my stream is being processed, so it's probably going to take a real long time to let me even come in and edit it. But yeah, there's a reason why my live stream on this computer is muted and kept on mute. because this is my work computer and I'm doing shit. And for that reason, like I don't know of any way where I can what do you call it, isolate the audio feed to be from like a specific app or anything, or it would be really nice if I could isolate it to a specific tab, like if I wanted to do just music out of my web browser. But I think in order to do something like that, I would need to be running on a separate computer. Like I don't see any way that that's reasonably possible to just do audio on here. So, because if I was just doing music all fucking day, I wouldn't want to hear it. And there's a lot of times, I mean, sometimes I'm rocking the fuck out, but there's a lot of times when on my stream on Facebook, I get burnt out on listening to music, and I need to like hear other things. Oh shit. I got a whole ass book that I gotta change into, like, I gotta make it into an audiobook. Like, part of the problem that I'm running into is that Americans don't read, they're illiterate. But I also have to do all this writing for what I feel is legal purposes. But no, the fact that there's any sort of bias associated with the FBI is a huge problem. And then I'm also questioning whether or not my Facebook streams are becoming a security risk, because I seen somebody was posting something about handlers on Facebook being affiliated with the IDF. And there's a lot of weird shit that happens on the internet. I don't know. Let me make another cup of coffee real quick, and then we'll Google that and see if that's even fucking true. I know that I've seen some weird propaganda that makes no sense coming through on my feeds, being shoved down my throat over there. I'll be right back. I need more coffee. don't even know what's happening here, man. I think YouTube is a weird platform. And what is this crap that was popping up in my feed this morning? Alright.
Facebook's parent company Meta recently hired over 100 former Israeli occupation soldiers and spies, many with ties to the infamous Unit 8200, a cyber-stalking gang within the Israeli military responsible for using Palestinians' personal information such as their sexual orientation and need for medical treatment to extort them into aiding the occupation. The American State Department and their corporate allies like Meta know that your ability to share the truth of the Israeli occupation in historic Palestine is an existential threat to the apartheid system there, and will do everything in their power.
Alright, we're not gonna let that go on for too long because I don't even know if what she's saying is true.
Company Meta recently hired over one.
This looks like bullshit. I mean, if Meta does something, you would think that you get better coverage on it, and these aren't even, like, what I'm seeing for where information is coming from is X. Instagram, LinkedIn, and then some weird ass shit that I ain't never fucking seen before. This looks like a load of horse shit. I mean, I have had some, like, propaganda that I'm not okay with getting shoved down my throat. I will say that. I need to find a mediator for my court shit. So I got a letter from the courts, which I was already told before while filing that this was going to happen, that they were going to dismiss. And I'm pretty sure that the dumbass thinks that he got off scot-free with destroying my vehicle and stealing money. But I have to find a mediator. They better not ask me for money, and if they do ask me for money, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll start looking for solutions at that point. So I'm going to need to make some phone calls today, because I have to mediate with the dumbass, but I have an admission that he sent me by email, so he's pretty fucked in this situation. Other than that, I gotta finish typing up these logs of events. I'm gonna finish with my entire Facebook log because we got another ban coming up, and that's why I'm prioritizing this. Because that's all evidence, but I like having the timestamps. I'm getting more organized and structured and functional in the middle of all this on how to manage it all. But in the beginning there, I was just like recording to make sure that I had everything on record and wasn't really being very organized about it. So it's taking me like one full day to clear 1 month of data. And then I would also like to purge my other feeds. And that's going to probably take longer. So we're looking at like over a week worth of shit. Just in making sure that records of activity are solidified. And then, as much as I hate it and I want to be making forward progress, like, I don't feel like I'm making forward progress. I feel like I'm stuck floating in the abyss of space while everybody else is, like, pumping out content and shit. But at the same time, like, through this whole thing, I have been a person who, when I do speak, it's because there's something important that needs to be said. So I'm probably going to have to work on, first of all, like, making an audiobook of my book that is already typed up, because people don't know what's going on. None of them are fucking reading it. People don't read. Americans don't read. How many Americans do you know that read? I don't like to read because I don't want to put my eyes on the letters. Huge problem. For me. Because if I go to court, I need to have documentation, and that means everything needs to be typed up. So I could either be typing everything up or be making content. I have a choice between one or the other. And if I'm not making content, I'm not reaching anybody because Americans don't read. And that's another thing that's been on my mind all morning this morning, is just like, in American history, we have had, like, you know, times when the people have needed to collectively work together to fix problems and battles that have been fought. Now, granted, I do see people going into these town halls and yelling at these motherfuckers, but as far as feasible, like, effective solutions, what are we doing? What are the answers to the problems? How do we put this to an end? And what I'm seeing is that there's work that needs to be done on the policy making side. And if I want to present my argument, which is that, why the fuck are we doing all this shit? We need to be doing this shit. This shit makes no sense. I need to have everything written up. That is my own perspective. And I don't like it. Other than that, if I get this shit knocked out, you know, if I just stay pile driving and doing hard work, then I can go back to my normal life to some extent if I get the work done, you know? Get all the writing done. It's a lot of fucking work. I'm buried in it. But if I do that, then I can move on. And other than that, though, I'm not sure what to do with my book, because I got all this stuff on argument about all this dehumanization that's been going on. And I don't know how important that is to fixing the problems right now. Because that's the next thing I was supposed to be working on. So let's go into the folder. Civil rights. And then I'm also wondering if I should be slamming down with some of these law firms or not. And from my own perspective, it looks like my documentation needs to be more cleaned up and functional, and that's really unfortunate, because we're already at, you know, as far as court docs goes, like, submitting all of this, we're already at, like, 300 something pages of shit that the courts would need to review to even begin to start a case. This is just ridiculous. But the people who did all this shit to me, they need to... Why should they be allowed to just take all that and then run off scot-free? And then other than that, another thing that's also on my mind in the middle of this is I got 3 more years, I think. So what, you have 6 years to file? So then if I want to push it to the deadline, that might possibly be around... I mean, I think I broke my foot in 2022, but this is just an ongoing barrage of events. So, I mean, we could possibly push out that deadline. So it might be 2025, but it could be, or 2026, but it could be 2029. What is it that we need to do to first of all get these vital agencies. We need to see to it that Doge is dismantled, and the sooner the better. Because if we let this go on, they are going to conceal all that evidence, and I think part of why Elon Musk is speaking out right now is because he's shitting his pants. I think that he's operating to conceal the $3 trillion that was fraudulently stolen by MAGA during the pandemic, using computer programs to access government systems in a way that they should not have been doing, to pinch money off of claimant accounts, just like they did with mine, and route it to bank accounts, which, with the fact that Elon Musk came rushing in to tamper with the Department of Labor the moment that I fucking said something about the fraud, tells me that that's exactly what they're doing. I'm sure that he went directly straight to my account to reroute the banking information where that money went to. So for that reason, I feel like 100% certain that that's what Doge is doing. Part of what Doge is doing. There's some other very shady shit going on. One thing that really confuses me and frustrates me in the middle of all this is how people are just willing to accept this. Like, hello, this is what's going on. People are all scratching their heads, being all confused. What do you think they're doing? No, dude, Elon Musk did not just go running into our federal agencies and just randomly start fucking with shit. There is a goal, and that goal is to conceal evidence of a crime and dismantle the whole system so that that evidence will never be discoverable. So the longer that they're in those systems, I mean, if we're talking about $3 trillion of fraud, then apparently it looks to me like with the fact that these motherfuckers are sweating, they're having difficulty right now trying to cover that up. And that's probably why Elon Musk is coming out here and saying, don't fuck with the budget bill, because this is what Doge is supposed to be doing. Like, you're just gonna go kill the victims of the crimes that you committed as a solution, as a means to conceal evidence. And I'm sorry, we're looking at 30% of the population here. So if we're going to let them do something like that, yeah, believe me, it's going to be ugly. And if people just want to look the other way and let all of this happen, dude, first of all, I think Americans are sick as fuck. But that's not going to go unnoticed. If they're just going to murder or try to murder through deprivation, 30% of the population, yeah, you're going to see it, you're going to feel it. The middle class is not understanding what's going on because the people that they're being victimized are the poor people. The poor people don't have a voice. Nobody cares. Nobody's listening to them. They're not being brought into the conversation, like, hardly at all. I don't see it happening. What I see is a bunch of fucking scrambling all over the place, acting like we don't know what's going on, and it's like, no, dude, all these people are being victimized, and they're not even seen in the middle of all of this. There's a detachment from reality that privilege provides. And it's kind of one of the things that I'm a little irritated with the person that I got in an argument with yesterday. Like, you don't see what's going on because you're living a whole different life where you're completely detached from the reality of what is actually taking place right now. And for that reason, I don't fucking respect you, dude. Goodbye with your sorry ass. They just fucking cut off, motherfucker. It's like when I was younger, I'd be like listening to all these talks, you know, all the intellectuals would be getting around the table or whatever and having these conversations. Why are the black people poor? And there's not a single black person on the panel, and it's just like these weird-ass motherfuckers having this delusional conversation that has, like, little to no basis in reality. Speculating on what is going on with different people. And, at that, the people that they themselves are victimizing, and so then the conversations that they're having are disingenuous, not effective, and just a waste of fucking time to listen to. But these are really big problems, and I cannot say that I have all the fucking answers. I'm trying to find answers. I'm very frustrated, and I'm very determined to find answers. But what I'm very concerned about is how complacent Americans have become. We're talking to a society that has been sitting inside their houses for a very long time, and just I feel like a lot of people are very detached from reality and not likely to act in the ways that we need them to. You know, you hardly see anybody out here documenting. Like, I feel the obligation to document all of this shit, because if we want to fight the fight, we have to know who the people are, first of all. Second of all, we need to have means to argue our point. And then we need to have meaningful solutions. Like, what kind of fucking legislation are we going to be passing? And that's the kind of stuff that we really need to be taken into consideration. Yes, I do think the American people have the ability to start passing legislation on the state level and regulate these motherfuckers, but considering the amount of people that just want to cry about how voting is so pointless and not even fucking register, and they're too lazy to read because they don't put their eyes on the letters, then how do we get legislation passed? Because I do think we need to start at the state level and start regulating our congressmen and finding ways to hold our congressmen accountable, particularly in these states that I've got marked on my map where we're seeing ongoing problems. We are in a nation where our government has been seized by foreign entities. And there is a failure to act in the better interest of the nation, and if it continues, well, then just expect that there will be an ongoing failure to act in the interest of the people, and the failure to act on behalf of the people choosing not to do the things that they need to do to try and improve the situation and sit back and whine about how everything's so hopeless and not take any action. Protesting is not enough. It's important, because we're not only signifying, our dismay, we're showing that to other states. So we're coming out and we're voting in numbers by making our presence known, and the amount of frustration that surrounds what's going on is known. It's a physical representation. I can look at what's going on in a foreign country where the people do not speak the same language and know that there is a problem with the political system as a result of seeing a shit ton of people outside. So as far as why it is that is something that I monitor and stay behind vehemently, that would be why. Like, I understand it now. Like, I had to stop and ask myself for a moment, why is this so important to me? How do I explain this? That's why. It's undeniable when people are out in mass like that. It don't even fucking matter. When there are that many people out, it's obvious what's going on. But as far as from my own perspective, like, we cannot win these battles if we don't take it seriously. And I just don't think that I think most Americans are in a situation where they're very detached from reality and have been coddled a little bit too much. The fact that we have a foreign adversary seizing control over the nation, and that there are actually Americans who are celebrating that, is very scary to me. So poll numbers came out yesterday, and we're still looking at 43% approve of what this piece of shit is doing. 43% believe that he's doing well on the economy. Where these fucking numbers come from, I don't know. The news channel, I think that was CNBC, and they presented like a bunch of like economic data. 30% approve of this on the economy, 30% of the tariffs, really no numbers, but the overall approval rating on the economy is at 43. So what's up with these people? Are they going to become violent if we need to start fixing problems, or are they just the vegetables that expect everybody else to fix the problems for them? Because if they're just vegetables and they're not likely to act, then we can go about trying to fix these problems. But if they are hostiles, then we have an issue. And if they're willing to be violent, standing behind what this regime is doing, then that is a huge national security risk, because from where I'm sitting, it certainly appears to me that foreign entities have seized control over the United States Congress. And we're in danger. That is my perspective. It is my opinion. I'm using my First Amendment right to freedom of speech to express my thoughts and opinions as a political commentator in the United States. It is my constitutional right to express my thoughts and concerns in regards to the behaviors of my government. So there's a realistic chance I'm just going to need to do a shit ton of typing and dig myself out of this hole and get the work done so that I can move on to something else. But I'm upset because I feel like my life is being seized by this. I don't want to be in this situation. I want to be making art. I want to be living my life. I want to do things that, have the simple pleasures of life. And it is the lack of willpower to find solutions and act on them in a large portion of the populace that has me so concerned that I feel like I need to take personal responsibility to seize control over the wheel. And that means throwing away, the next year and a half of my life at least to this disaster on behalf of the people. And it means that the things that I enjoy that matter to me are gone. And I will not get to have those because everybody else is just expecting someone else to fix their problems for them. And that's my perspective on things. We got clout chasers out here in the middle of all this, trying to stir up commotion, trying to divide people. Spinning the news in a way that's not meaningful. Like these motherfuckers that can't fucking put two and two together, that are like, oh, sorry, did yesterday fucking piss me off. Because I've seen a handful of people acting like that. When I see that kind of behavior, those people, they get scolded. The good news is that when I have to rip someone a new asshole, they listen. We're dealing with a national security threat. We're dealing with a national emergency, and people just need to be reminded of that. Like, I don't know who's out here trying to stir division, but it is happening. And when I see it, those people get called out, and they do stop when they are made aware of what they're feeding into. But I do not think that this is a thing for opportunists to be taking advantage of the suffering of people, Like, we have to be out here. We have to be doing the work. We have to be getting people informed. This is part of it all. And people who are spending their full time and all that to make, working on this stuff, like, they do need means to survive and everything. I'm not judging that. But what I am judging is the few individuals that I've run across in the middle of all of this, across the vast nothingness of the internet, who are opportunizing on this and not seeing it in a correct way. And being hostile towards others. And divisive. Like when you come at something like this, where millions of people are being forced to suffer in a destructive way, then you know what you're going to get. If you're telling your followers to be destructive, you're going to get more destruction. Yeah, I really don't find this enjoyable, though. I gotta go through all this fucking shit and fucking type it up, and then because of my lack of activity, people are like, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, I'm the one trying to fucking fix problems, motherfucker. I guess I'm sitting here in the distance in the back seat, hardly being seen, but there's a reason for that. On the bright side, though, there are people, time is going on and people are getting to know me, and so some of that is kind of going away. And we're getting comfortable with each other as content creators, like a handful, there's a whole crew of motherfuckers. Yeah, it sucks. We need to see to it that the FBI is an independent fucking agency, like of any of the things that I think is crystal fucking clear. And it's a huge problem. We got millions of women getting murdered left and right. And the FBI has just been failing for a very long time now. It is their job to do something about it. Other than that, we also need to seize control over the fact that our Congress apparently does not know how to appropriate budgets. I think that they're not capable or competent enough to manage the budgets, and I don't think that they should be in control of the purse anymore. At all. Period. It makes no sense to me why the United States Congress is managing the budgets. And especially if that is our most vulnerable office, which, from my own perspective, we have huge loopholes in our Congress that need to be patched up in regards to see to it that the Congress is a secure, trustworthy entity. Because right now it's operating on the behalf of a money laundering scheme and foreign adversaries. It was the prime target. It's very easy to usurp that office, apparently. We also need provisions to call for re-elections, because, like, when it comes to all of these nations that kicked Putin out when he was trying to do espionage during the previous election terms that just took place globally, a lot of these nations did re-elections, and the United States system of law currently has no provisions for that. But yeah, these are the kinds of things I'm looking at, these are the kinds of things I'm concerned about, and these are the kinds of things I don't fucking see people fucking talking about. And for that reason, I don't think that we are likely to survive this. I do not think that things are going to get better. Because people don't care, and they're not interested in that shit. So I think that Americans have become complacent and fucking lazy. And I don't think that there's enough people taking this situation seriously enough. So I personally don't see the situation getting better. I'm glad we're having wins and all. But at the same time, at the end of the day, people are getting murdered. As far as what's happening to the women in the United States, nobody cares. Nobody talks about it. It's a blip. We don't value human life here. There's something wrong with this society. And if we're going to allow Doge to seize control over all of our federal agencies, which it looks like that's the direction that this is currently going in, the accountability is not enough. We don't talk about whether or not Doge should be subjected to FOIA. What we need to talk about is that Doge needs to be disbanded. So well, I'm glad to see certain aspects of progress being made, and I'm hopeful that, maybe we can clean some of this up. At the same time, I have a lot of reason to be pessimistic.